Well, I can actually wear pants now, which is nice, considering I'm almost, shit, 2 weeks out of the surgery. Shit, it's pretty much, it's not all what it cracked up to be, let's put it that way, because literally I can't only work around here for about a month. And I can't see a chiropractor for 3 months, so that's kind of fucked up. But anyway, continuing with the summer of sleaze, this one's really fucking sleazy. I'm trying to think, damn, all right, I was hanging out, I guess, at Club 44, and I was walking up the block, across 7th, down 7th Avenue toward 42nd Street. I was over by, I guess, the New Amsterdam, and I started walking down the block, and across the street, I spied a marquee, and could have been the Rialto, could have been the Lyric, I'm not too sure. But there was a double feature, the Scavengers and Hot Spur. Now, you got to remember, too, this is around the time they were still floating fistful of dollars for a few dollars more around as a double feature. So in my inebriated state, I'm thinking, wow, maybe these are new spaghetti westerns. So I paid whatever it was to get in and was sitting in the back of the theater when the Scavengers started. And right away, I could tell this wasn't going to be your ordinary Western because it's a bunch of Confederate soldiers, and they're talking about that they want to eat a horse, but their commanding officer was quite nuts, decides they can't eat the horse. So this was directed by Lee Frost and written, I believe, by Bob Cressy, and Wes Bishop's in there. So they go past, these Confederate soldiers are going into this town because they think this caravan of troops is going to basically be delivering $300,000 in gold coins for a payroll thing. Actually, the war is over, but this guy is one of those guys that ain't going to give up, still fighting it. So they ride into town, past the shanty town with a bunch of black folks living there, and then the N-bombs start dropping. And then I realized that almost 75% of the patrons of this theater are of the African American persuasion. So right about now, I'm sinking low in my seat. So they get into this town, and the proprietor of the saloon tells them, you know, the girls are upstairs, and the commander's sitting there with them talking about how you don't seem too surprised. And he goes, well, the war is over. So the commander shoots him because he doesn't want that going on. The three girls upstairs, one of them is Ushi Daigart, and there's a lot of exposed boobage right then and there. So this little escort comes into town with a lieutenant, another lieutenant, a couple soldiers, the lieutenant's fiance, and her black maid. So anyway, they are attacked, the soldiers are killed, the strong box is open. They are really pissed off when they only find about $2,000 in it. The lieutenant explains that basically, you know, they're not transporting that kind of money anymore because they don't have the troops there. Well, of course, the colonel doesn't buy it and shoots him and refers to the black maid as a thing, as it, and basically tortures the other soldier and says that basically he's going to have the black maid raped in front of them so they can see what he's going to do to his fiancée if he doesn't talk. So anyway, here we have our first gangbang of the film, and it's basically nasty when the colonel goes, throw that thing on the bar and do what you want to it. And I sink lower into my seat and pull my hat over my eyes. So we got to deal with that for a while, and then she's taken upstairs to be held prisoner by the one soldier that didn't rape her. So she sort of seduces him and takes a really long hat pin and sticks it in his ear and sneaks out. And she runs to the shanty town where she explains her predicament and is pretty much laughed at because whatever happened to you happened to most of us tenfold. So they're going back and forth, and they say, well, you know something, we'll go into town. We'll just go kill some white folk because we got nothing better to do. I try to sink lower into my seat. So there's another gangbang of the lieutenant's fiance. He's beaten half to death. there's a shootout, which somebody was trying to compare this to the Wild Bunch. Well, guess what? It didn't happen. There's guys getting shot. There's blood. There's a lot of blood on faces. There's no exploding blood packs. There's no squibs. There's no nothing. Eventually, the Colonel's last two men turn on him and leave him for the vultures that we saw in the beginning of the film. And then Hotspur came on, and I'm like, okay, how bad can this one be? And this one is pretty much derogatory toward Hispanics and Mexicans, so we had that going. So pretty much I crawled out of that theater after that film. So what became of the film? Well, in the early days of VHS, both Hotspur and the Scavengers wound up on some label called VCR. Pretty clever, right? Well, I don't know who was putting that out, but it was in my universe because I could grab it cheap and sell it. So it couldn't have been too much. But then another outfit put it out as Rebel Vixens with a very seductive cover, and they also did this with a bunch of other films that really weren't that seductive, and the company that did that was Private Screenings. Then I believe Something Weird had put it out for a while. Alpha Blue Archive still has it out as a double feature. And Severin found a camera negative somewhere. I believe it was in Paris or something like that. And basically just did a two-version Blu-ray of the theatrical cut and the X-rated cut. So it's out there. Is it good? Well, it's different. And Frost and Cressy specialized in roughies. And Dave Friedman even said that, there was only two guys he would allow direct a roughie. One was H.G. Lewis and the other one was Lee Frost. Lee Frost was also the appointed director on Race with the Devil, but he was fired after the first day because he did too good. So, that's another thing. On the commentary with the Defilers, Dave talks about what happened with Race with the Devil. So, definitely a sleaze classic, and it's out completely restored, so you ought to check it out. Before I go, I want to shout out my deepest condolences to my friend Steve Bissett, who basically, I'm not going to go into detail with this, but there was a family tragedy that was ongoing, and it was only a matter of time before something happened. And Steve is a really good guy, and he deserved better than this, and it's just really sad. So, again, my deepest condolences go out to Steve Bissett. So, that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the flip side.